Hello, my name is Martin Chow and I'm a student of His Eminence Zong Rinpoche. Today we're going to be talking about Kechara's Dorje Shugden lineage. By lineage, I mean the ability to trace a teaching and practice directly to a credible source, which is usually an enlightened being or highly attained Lama. If we know the source of a practice, and if we know how it has been transmitted over time, then we can be sure that what we are learning is an authentic teaching. Kechara's lineage of Dorje Shugden's practice is very precious, and it came from Dorje Shugden directly and transmitted to the great Mahasiddha Tagphu Pemavajra. A Siddha is someone who has attained the realization of siddhis, or psychic and spiritual abilities and powers. A Mahasiddha is therefore a great Siddha, and Taktpu Pemavajra was one such Lama. Taktpu Pemavajra was a very special practitioner, and in his past life he was the Mahasiddha Dharmati, a direct disciple of Buddha Shakyamuni. To get an idea of how significant Taktpu Pemavajra's lineage is, let's look at some of the things he had done in his past lives. For example, in his previous life, he was Lobsang Tempe Gyaltsen, who wrote the important commentary on Vajrayogini together with another master, who would later reincarnate as Pabongka Rinpoche. The Vajrayogini lineage that Gelugpas practice today come from the work of Taktpu Pemavajra. Taktpu Pemavajra also experienced many extraordinary visions of deities. It was Tara who spoke directly with him, and from there we have the Chittamani Tara practice today. It is said that once when Taktpu Pemavajra did a retreat, the secret Dakini sign language was revealed to him. If Taktpu Pemavajra was highly attained, so was his main disciple, Pabongka Rinpoche. Pabongka Rinpoche had earlier been requested by Dorje Shugden through an oracle to compose a new text for the deity's practice. And although Pabongka Rinpoche did that, he felt he had to be sure, and so he asked Taktpu Pemavajra for help. Taktpu Pemavajra was by then very famous for his ability to astral travel. And so Taktpu Pemavajra traveled to Tushita heaven, where he had an audience with Lama Tsongkhapa and Duldzin Drakpa Gyaltsen, who was not only Lama Tsongkhapa's main disciple, but also the past incarnation of Dorje Shugden. Dorje Shugden emanated from under Lama Tsongkhapa's throne and personally taught the practice to Taktpu Pemavajra. When he returned from Tushita, he carefully recorded all the teachings down and passed them to Pabongka Rinpoche. He also composed a praise to Dorje Shugden known as Infinite Eons, which would later become the basis of perhaps the most definitive text on Dorje Shugden. So we see that Kechara's Dorje Shugden lineage in fact began in Lama Tsongkhapa's Pure Land, with Dorje Shugden giving the teachings to Mahasiddha Tagphu Pemavajra. From Taktpu Pemavajra, we also received the Chittamani Tara and the Vajrayogini practice of today. It is therefore extremely credible. From this great master, the lineage was passed on safely to another great master, Pabongka Rinpoche. Based on what Dorje Shugden taught his guru, Pabongka Rinpoche wrote Melodious Drum, Victorious in All Directions, and it is from this text that we get the Dorje Shugden counsel used today for the worship and prayers to Dorje Shugden. Pabongka Rinpoche was a highly attained master in his own right. He was also known as Pabongka Deshe Ningpo, which means essence of bliss. In other words, Pabongka Rinpoche was regarded to be one with Heruka. In his past life, Pabongka Rinpoche was the great Lama Changkya Rope Dorje, who was the tutor of the Chinese emperor. And as you can imagine, only the best scholar would be selected to be the emperor's royal tutor. In another past life, Pabongka Rinpoche was also a direct disciple of Lama Tsongkhapa. Although Pabongka Rinpoche manifested as only an average student, he would become an exceptional Lama, to the point where even learned geshes would consult him. There are many accounts of this Lama's attainments, such as the famous story of how Heruka actually appeared before Pabongka Rinpoche in a place called Chimburi in Tibet. There, an image of Heruka spoke to Pabongka Rinpoche, and when the image of Heruka opened its mouth, nectar started coming out. Pabongka Rinpoche collected this nectar and made them into nectar pills, and this is how Taktpu's of the Gelugpa originate from. That event was witnessed by quite a number of people, 60 to 70 of them. Therefore, this lineage that Kechara belongs to is indeed a very special and blessed lineage. Pabongka Rinpoche was quite unique and had the ability to explain and teach complex teachings in a simple way that it was easy for everyone to understand, even though they were from different backgrounds and from different levels of comprehension. This quality is similar to the Buddha, who taught all kinds of people, from rulers to peasants, and all understood the Buddha perfectly. Actually, this quality can also be seen in our Guru, His Eminence Zong Rinpoche, who is famous for being able to teach what is sometimes difficult teachings in a simple way. Pabongka Rinpoche would make his teachings humorous, and again we see this in Zong Rinpoche. Anyone who has heard Zong Rinpoche's teachings have experienced how humorous and light-heartedly Rinpoche delivers his teachings. Anyway, when Pabongka Rinpoche taught, thousands would come from all directions to listen, and yet despite not having anything such as loudspeakers or microphones then, all could hear him clearly. There are many other incidences when Pabongka Rinpoche quietly demonstrated his great attainments. One time, Pabongka Rinpoche was able to answer the 13th Dalai Lama's query so amazingly by referring to books and texts and chapters and pages, and where these books were kept and where these texts were kept on the 13th Dalai Lama shelves without him being there. The great 13th Dalai Lama became convinced that Pabongka Rinpoche was an extraordinary Lama. So in 1925, the 13th Dalai Lama chose Pabongka Rinpoche to give the annual Lamrim teachings. Traditionally, it had been the Ganden throne holder, the Ganden Tripa, who would give such teachings. Pabongka Rinpoche wrote the long Vrajayogini sadhana that all Gelugpa Lamas rely on for the practice. And in the tradition of Atisha and Lama Tsongkhapa, Pabongka Rinpoche gave a historic 24-day oral discourse on the Lamrim, which was then recorded and published as Liberation in the Palm of the Hand, which is probably the most relied on Lamrim text today. It is commonly agreed that Pabongka Rinpoche was a key lineage holder of the oral Ganden tradition, and in his lifetime, there was hardly a significant figure in the Ganden tradition who had not been his disciple. From Pabongka Rinpoche, the Dorje Shugden lineage was then passed on to his closest student, Trijang Dorje Chang. In 1959, when the Dalai Lama and many Tibetans fled Tibet, Pabongka Rinpoche knew that he would not be able to escape, and so he carefully transmitted all the lineage teachings to a single disciple, Trijang Rinpoche. Amongst all the precious teachings that Pabongka Rinpoche passed to Trijang Rinpoche, he included the practice of Dorje Shugden in its purest form. Trijang Rinpoche is easily the most influential Gelugpa High Lama of his era. If we were to regard the most influential Lamas of the modern time, who are lineage holders and who have also spread the Dharma far and wide, names like the 14th Dalai Lama, Zong Rinpoche, Zeme Rinpoche, Geshe Kelsam Gyatso, and Lama Yeshe, all of them regard Trijang Rinpoche as their teacher. Trijang Rinpoche comes from an illustrious line of incarnation, starting with Chandra, the chariot driver of Prince Siddhartha, who escorted the prince out of the palace for the last time when he renounced his worldly position to become the Buddha. Trijang Rinpoche's past lives also include Atisha and Chandrakirti. By the time Trijang Rinpoche was 18 years old, he was already very learned. And around that age, he debated before the geshes of the three major Gelugpa monasteries for his final examinations and received the Geshe Larampa degree. When Trijang Rinpoche first gave an oral transmission of the collected works of J. Tsongkhapa and his main disciples to about 200 monks, followed by granting empowerments of Vrajayogini to about 60 lamas, incarnate lamas, and monks, he was only 23 years old. And for the rest of his life, Trijang Rinpoche taught the entire corpus of the Gelugpa lineage teachings. Trijang Rinpoche was also the holder of Ganden oral tradition that was transmitted to him in its entirety by Pabongka Rinpoche. It was through Trijang Rinpoche's strong commitment that the Dorje Shugden lineage was kept fully intact and pure. Trijang Rinpoche wrote the definitive text on Dorje Shugden called Music Delighting and Ocean of Protectors, which was based on Taktpu Pemavajra's writing on Dorje Shugden called Infinite Eons. In Music Delighting and Ocean of Protectors, Trijang Rinpoche enumerated the deities' previous lives as Manjushri, the Mahasiddha Biwapa, Sakya Pandita, Bhutan Rinchen Drup, Duldzin Drakpa Gyaltsen, Panchen Sonam Drakpa, and Tulku Drakpa Gyaltsen. This great Lama had a very close relationship with Dorje Shugden, and in his autobiography, The Illusory Play, Trijang Rinpoche often spoke very fondly of the deity and said that Dorje Shugden was like a loving mother to him. Trijang Rinpoche used to train oracles to take trance of Dorje Shugden, and it was Trijang Rinpoche who gave the instructions to consult the oracle of Dorje Shugden and asked if the Dalai Lama should remain in Tibet or escape in 1959. Trijang Rinpoche wrote in The Illusory Play that the situation had become so dangerous that it greatly disturbed him, and although a few advices had already been given by Palden Lamo, Nechung, and the Gadong Oracle, he felt it was necessary to also consult Dorje Shugden. The Dhammapala said, "You must go immediately, and if you go by way of the southwestern direction, no harm will come to the Dalai Lama or any of his entourage. I guarantee it. You must go raising this sword in my name at the head of the Dalai Lama's column." Thus, he advised using the path leading to the southwest through Ramagang and then perform the shooting arrows and sword dances. Therefore, Trijang Rinpoche was key in the successful escape of the Dalai Lama to India, and together with His Holiness, Trijang Rinpoche left Tibet and carried with him the entire Gelugpa lineage teachings, including the Dorje Shugden lineage. Trijang Rinpoche then passed the Dorje Shugden lineage to his close disciple, Zong Dorje Chang. Zong Rinpoche met Trijang Rinpoche at Shazé College of Ganden Monastery. Trijang Rinpoche was only 14 years old, but was already highly accomplished, and Trijang Rinpoche would become Zong Rinpoche's chief mentor and root guru. Zong Rinpoche was already known as a remarkable scholar with tremendous knowledge in the Madhyamaka, but he was known especially to be an exceptional debater. There's a good story that speaks of Zong Rinpoche's highly agile mind and his firm grasp of scriptures and logic, which made him the unbeatable debater. It is said that during one debate on Buddhist logic, the famous Geshe Sharap Gyatso likened Zong Rinpoche to Dharmakirti. Zong Rinpoche was appointed as the abbot of the prestigious Ganden Shazé Monastery, a position that he held for almost 10 years. By then, he was already known all over Tibet as being a very powerful Tantrician, and he gave many empowerments and teachings on the Tantras. But Zong Rinpoche would always also give the teachings of Dorje Shugden, whom he regarded as a very special protector. And it was with the assistance of Dorje Shugden that Zong Rinpoche saved many Ganden monks from Chinese attacks. Zong Rinpoche was also known for his clairvoyance, and 3 days before the Chinese army attacked the monastery, Zong Rinpoche could foresee the event, and he started asking monks to leave the monastery into safety. But on the day of the attack itself, quite a number of old and sick monks remained, and as the Chinese army began shelling the monastery, Zong Rinpoche was seen retreating into his chambers, where he did a Dorje Shugden repelling obstacles puja. People witnessed a bright light coming from Zong Rinpoche's chambers, which hit the Chinese army camp, and that created a small earthquake that damaged the Chinese cannons and equipment, which delayed the attack for a few hours, allowing enough time for the monks to escape. Zong Rinpoche made several trips to the west. It was on the last trip that he met my guru, Sem Rinpoche. Sem Rinpoche met his root guru in 1984 when Zong Rinpoche visited Los Angeles. Sem Rinpoche was a young man then, still a layperson, and during Zong Rinpoche's stay in America, Rinpoche attended to all of Zong Rinpoche's needs as if he had done that before for many times. It was Zong Rinpoche who recognized Sem Rinpoche as a young incarnate Tulku and asked Rinpoche to go to Zong Ladrang in Ganden. Zong Rinpoche confirmed what Sem Rinpoche had felt since he was only a child, that he was destined for a life in the Dharma. Sem Rinpoche's mother was a Mongolian princess, and for the 9 months when she carried Rinpoche in her womb, she would constantly dream of a baby white elephant entering her courtyard, and she would tie the elephant to a tree. On the day Rinpoche was born, the princess dreamt of high lamas and monks performing various pujas in her house. These were all auspicious signs that a high incarnate lama had entered the world. When Rinpoche was 7 months old, monks came and recognized the baby as a reincarnated lama and requested Rinpoche's mother to take the boy to the monastery so that he can commence his spiritual education. Rinpoche's mother said no, and said that if he were truly a high lama, he would eventually make his own way to the monastery. And so from a very young age, Rinpoche had a very deep longing to be in the monasteries, and he did everything possible growing up to return there. Eventually, like so many great masters before him, Sam Rinpoche gave up what would have been a comfortable secular life, ran away to seek a life in the Dharma. What is quite remarkable and uncanny is how the Dharma would always find Sam Rinpoche. And Rinpoche was able to meet and learn from highly realized masters, such as the Abbot Emeritus Khenso Rinpoche Lobsang Tachin, who was a direct disciple of Pabongka Rinpoche and Trijang Rinpoche. Sam Rinpoche also met with the erudite Geshe Sutrim Gyaltsen in LA, where Rinpoche served and studied for 8 years. And it was there that Sam Rinpoche would eventually meet Zong Dorje Chang. Sam Rinpoche was deeply drawn to the Dharma from a very young age and was extremely fascinated by a few deities such as Palden Lamo. But Rinpoche was also equally drawn to the Dharmapala Dorje Shugden. Rinpoche wanted to have only one protective practice that he would do very well and with complete sokas, and so he asked Zong Rinpoche for advice. Zong Rinpoche told Sam Rinpoche that if he liked, he would give Rinpoche his own protector, which of course was Dorje Shugden. Sam Rinpoche felt that if this protector was good enough for a high master like Zong Rinpoche, that it must be an important and beneficial practice, and that was good enough for Rinpoche. Rinpoche accepted and later received Sokte or life entrustment from Zong Rinpoche. Dorje Shugden has been Sam Rinpoche's Dharma protector ever since, and over the years, Dorje Shugden has provided for Rinpoche in all aspects of Rinpoche's life in Dharma. If Kechara has grown to what it is today, it is because our Guru trusted Dorje Shugden completely. Over the years, I have personally seen Sam Rinpoche completely trust in Dorje Shugden, and I have seen with my own eyes how Rinpoche, with the blessings of Dorje Shugden, has performed miracle after miracle, including curing a few people I know of fatal diseases that would have taken their lives if not for Dorje Shugden's divine intervention. So the Dorje Shugden lineage we have inherited at Kechara has a very rich and a very true lineage. It is a lineage that has been given to us by Dorje Shugden himself and passed on from one enlightened master to another. If this pure lineage practice has reached us, it is because those who received it preserved it and kept it pure and authentic and did whatever was necessary to keep it that way. And it is by the great compassion and pure Guru devotion of our lineage masters like Duldzin Drakpa Gyaltsen, Mahasiddha Tagphu Pemavajra, Pabongka Rinpoche, Trijang Dorje Chang, Zong Dorje Chang, and our beloved Guru Sam Rinpoche that we are inheritors of this precious jewel today. So with such a pure and unbroken lineage, if we were to practice it like the past lineage masters did, with integrity, holding on to all our vows, observing pure Guru devotion, and keeping our samaya clean with our Gurus, and fully trusting Dorje Shugden, then the practice is effective and powerful, and will keep us on the path to liberation. May you all be richly blessed and protected by this great and enlightened Dharmapala, Dorje Shugden. Thank you.